Hello, everyone. I'm David Marshall along with Brian Ducharme, and we're here today to discuss the upcoming 2025 NerdioCon event taking place April 7th through the 9th at the La Quinta Resort and Club in Palm Springs. This is going to be a fantastic event, so to find out more about it, we're happy to be joined today by Joseph Landis, the co-founder and CRO of Nerdio. Joseph, it's great to have you with us on VMblog.
Thanks to you and Brian for having me. I've always wanted to be on VMblog, so I'm excited to do it with you.
Yeah, first time we've had the chance to talk to you like this, so we're excited.
Good.
Why don't, giving through, talking about the excitement, why don't you first kind of just start off and give a quick overview for folks who may not be that familiar with Nerdio?
Yeah, absolutely. So again, it's great to be here. Thank you so much for having me. I worked at Microsoft for 23 years. And the last really 10, 11 years, I was based outside the US and really was spending most of my time in the Microsoft Azure ecosystem. And what I learned was that SMB customers were having a real hard time moving to Microsoft Azure. And one of the reasons was because their managed service providers really didn't have a lot of the skills that they needed in order to build a successful cloud practice based on Microsoft Azure. And in 2018, I was introduced to my co-founder, Vadim Vladimir, and we decided to start a company, Nerdio, which was really all based on the premise of empowering MSPs to build successful cloud practices in Microsoft Azure. We've since expanded that and expanded the company greatly to go beyond Microsoft Azure to Azure Virtual Desktop, Windows 365, now the Microsoft 365 suite. And we even have another product, in addition to our Nerdio Manager for MSP product, called Nerdio Manager for Enterprise, which is a product that is meant for IT pros, IT admins who are looking to deploy, manage, and optimize an AVD, Windows 365, Intune, or Azure local environment. So we have two products, and we're a 6-year-old software company that we like to say we're a very outside-in company. We love speaking with clients, with partners, to really learn what they're experiencing and helping them abstract the complexity that they're seeing in their day-to-day work.
And now, this being the first time that VMblog attends NerdioCon, can you tell us, what made you decide to bring it to Palm Springs, and what kind of inspired the creation of NerdioCon? Also, what are some of the unique things that you're bringing to the IT community? What can they expect going into the show?
Well, first of all, if it's your first time coming to NerdioCon, I need to make sure you have a good room. That's like the first thing, right? So we'll get right on that. But we came up with the idea for NerdioCon actually 5 years ago, and we're very active participants in the ecosystem of events. If you talk to the average MSP, they attend a lot of events, and we love going to where MSPs are, meeting them there, speaking to them about how to build a successful cloud practice in the Microsoft cloud. And that's something that we've continued to do, and I think we show up in a very positive way. But we came to the realization that in addition to going to other people's events, there's probably some uniqueness that we could create by doing our own event. So the first time we actually did NerdioCon, it was a virtual event. It was during the early days of COVID. We had about 1,000 MSPs participate over the course of 2 days. And we felt that there was room for an event that is really fully focused on the Microsoft cloud. Lots of events have different focus. Maybe it's a security event. Maybe it's something else. But our event is really focused on the Microsoft cloud. I sort of jokingly refer to it as a Microsoft Cloud Love Fest. Why is that? What's the uniqueness that you asked about, Brian? You go to NerdioCon, and you have keynotes, you have breakout sessions. There's going to be about 50 breakout sessions you could go to this year. But one of the really unique things is the individuals from Microsoft who've created these products that partners and customers are using are there at the event. So for example, Scott Manchester. Scott runs engineering for Azure Virtual Desktop and Windows 365. He comes to the event every year, and he loves standing out there by the beach, by the pool, playing golf, just talking to people in the hallway about the challenges they're having and how Microsoft and Nerdio can help address them. So I think one of the really unique features about NerdioCon, in addition to it being very focused and fully focused on the Microsoft cloud, is that kind of intimate nature of the event, that it's a little bit more casual and you have the opportunity to really speak to individuals who maybe you don't have normally the chance to speak with at Microsoft, which we find our participants really, really like.
Now I know, like you said, this has been around for a few years now, and since it went from virtual to physical, even though Brian and I haven't been there yet, seeing that the show, you guys have picked some spectacular venues to have this event. Again, as we said, you guys for this event you picked Palm Springs. Can you talk about what made you pick Palm Springs, and
Absolutely.
how will that enhance the overall experience for an attendee?
Yeah, so you're right. I mean, when we moved from the first year being virtual to then in person, I guess the other unique nature of NerdioCon is we wanted the event to be in a very nice location, in a unique location, in a destination type of location. So the first 2 years were in Cancun, Mexico. Last year was in Punta Cana, they were incredible events. The first year in person, still during COVID, we had about 160 partners come. The second year, we doubled it to a little over 300. Last year in Punta Cana, we had close to 500 or so partners attend, and it'll be about the same size this year. But, we found that there are definitely some partners who just won't go abroad. They don't feel that it's something they want to do. They'd like to stay a little closer to home. So we thought that this year we would experiment with choosing an equally great location, super nice location. You could a lot of amenities, a lot of things you could do, but in the U.S. So when we kind of looked at the La Quinta in Palm Springs, it's a very, very old, rich with history hotel. We liked it a lot. We thought the experience for the attendees would be great, and that's why we chose that location.
Now, we've sort of already talked a little bit about what attendees can expect going to NerdioCon, but maybe you can talk a little bit more about some of the key themes, the tracks, and learning opportunities, as well as addressing, like, how are you guys meeting the current challenges of cloud and virtualization management?
Yeah. Everything we do, again, we're a very outside in software company. We listen to our partners, we listen to our customers to understand where their pain points are, and we try to solve them. In fact, I mentioned that we have two different products. We have a new release of each of our products every 6 weeks with 10 to 15 new features in each of those. And those features are really recommended by our partners and by our customers. So I think, first and foremost, attendees at NerdioCon are going to feel like their feedback really matters, that their feedback is something that we strive to get as much of as possible. I think that they'll find very interesting keynotes, again, from individuals that they don't typically get to hear from. For example, Nina Harding, who is the Microsoft Channel Chief for the Americas. She'll be delivering one of the keynotes. Scott Manchester, as I mentioned, will be delivering another keynote. They'll be able to hear from me and Vadim in terms of our product direction. So I think we're going to have some fantastic keynotes. I think the breakout sessions are going to be incredible. More than 50 breakout sessions, from the very, very technical to the kind of business leadership and everything in between. And everything we do is really meant to help a partner, to help a customer build a more successful Microsoft Cloud practice. And in particular, as really partners and customers are looking to do that and looking really to virtualize more and more and more of their estates, being able to hear what's available today and really what's coming. We have a major announcement that we're going to be making with Microsoft at the show. We sort of view this as the can't miss show when it comes to, native Microsoft desktop as a service.
Now, you talked about some of the keynotes and, Scott Manchester being there, who I always enjoy listening to at any show that I'm, privileged to attend, that he's, actually there speaking. Is there any, you talked about all the different breakouts. Are there any breakout sessions that stand out in your mind, whether it's the topic or the person who's actually giving it?
Gosh, it's like trying to choose your favorite child, right? It's very difficult to do that. I guess what I'd say about the breakout sessions is we've really curated them with the attendees in mind. So now we have 4 years of doing this, and we kind of know what people want to hear about, and what is sort of less popular. For example, the topic of Microsoft Intune is super hot, especially among MSPs, right? So MSPs, they buy Microsoft 365 Business Premium, but they don't necessarily use all the functionality in Business Premium. They're not really using Intune. They're not really using Defender as much as they can. And when you ask them why that is it's not set up in a multi-tenant way. It's not quite as easy to use as they thought it was going to be. And again, this is where Nerdio comes in to abstract the complexity of some of these products. So, the technologies that MSPs want to use, but they're not necessarily using today, those tend to be very popular breakout sessions. I mean, Scott Manchester does a breakout session, kind of a roadmap, Windows 365 AVD roadmap discussion. I think another great session that's going to be there is from Jose Gomez Cueto, who is the general manager of SMB for Microsoft America, is talking about some of the investments Microsoft is making in AI, in modern work. So, I think the biggest challenge that we run into is participants saying, I actually want to be in many more of these sessions than I have time to get to. Can you repeat this session or that session? And, we like to think that we're putting on a good show, and we're putting on a lot of variety, let's call it, for people to take advantage of.
Now, with the rapid evolution of cloud technologies and virtual desktop solutions, how is Nerdio 2025's agenda reflect those changes, and what kind of practical skills can attendees expect to get and be able to bring back to their organizations?
Yeah. I mean, look, there's no one who's doing what we're doing in the native Microsoft desktop as a service space. We made a bet on Microsoft when we started the company that they were really going to be the leader when it comes to desktop virtualization. And if you look at any of the commonly available reports, the Gartner Magic Quadrant, the Forrester Wave, the whatever IDC calls the report, I forgot. Microsoft is way up to the right in let's call it the leader quadrant, and everyone else is kind of sinking back towards the bottom. And I think that bet that we made on Microsoft has paid off in a very big way. And our goal is to continue to add value on top of what Microsoft is doing, to really extend the investments that Microsoft's making in Windows 365, in Azure Virtual Desktop, in Azure Local, in Microsoft Intune. And I think when someone comes to NerdioCon, they're going to get a lot of hands-on experience with these technologies. They're going to see what's available today, and they're also going to get a very rich roadmap in terms of what's coming throughout the rest of 2025, and they'll be able to see that. They'll be able to see demos. They'll be able to get their hands on with the products. And I think that's, again, one of the unique natures of the event. Not at every event do you get to really have as much hands-on time, not just with the technology, but with the developers and the people who are really creating the technology. And that's a really unique part of NerdioCon.
Yeah, and sort of, I guess, beyond the formal sessions, the breakouts, the hands-on activities, when someone's looking at a trade show, got to say it, right? They're looking for different networking opportunities, social events, what kind of different things they can do for fun outside of just sitting around in different breakouts. What kind of activities around those types of things does Nerdio have planned for attendees?
Right. So first of all, this is the first year that we're actually doing a pre-day or a pre-con. So actually, the Monday will be a pre-day with 4 different tracks that we're putting on in partnership with Microsoft. So if you want to come and you want to learn and you want to go deep for 4 hours in Windows 365, you have that opportunity. If you want to go deep for 4 hours in Intune, you have that opportunity. And then after the pre-day has finished, after the formal learning is finished, there's a bunch of different activities in and around Palm Springs. There's a golf tournament. There's, I believe, a car racing tournament, although don't hold me to that. So there's a lot of different fun activities. In addition to, I believe, the hotel has 41 pools. Now, I've never been to a hotel that has 41 pools before I saw this one, That's kind of cool. So I think the environment itself is really fun. You mentioned the networking. The networking I continue to believe is one of the best parts of NerdioCon, that we have so much time built in to the evening parties, events, the lunches, the walking around, where partners from all over the world, and we get partners and customers who come from really all over the world, have the opportunity to learn from each other. We instituted something 3 years ago also that the attendees really love. We call it speed dating. Now, it's not quite speed dating in the way you think of it necessarily, but what it is we have a lot of vendors, a lot of other software companies who come, and they have booths just like at any other event. So what we do is, at certain points in the event, we set each vendor up at a table, and after 15 minutes, the bell rings, and you could choose any table you want, but then you have to go to a different table, and you get a little bit more time with those software companies or hardware companies. So I think it's really a very different format than you see at really any other event that I've been at. It's not to say other events aren't great. We go to probably, between the events we put on and ones we go to, we probably go to more than 150 events a year. But NerdioCon is special, both the location, the speakers, the content, and certainly the opportunity to meet your peers from around the world.
So, Joseph, I know you had mentioned it earlier that you were going to be making some big announcements with Microsoft at NerdioCon, and I don't want to put you on the spot here, and certainly I'm not asking you to reveal anything, on this show ahead of the event. But can you think about what's coming to the show? Are there any kind of other kind of announcements, product discussions, or partnerships that attendees can look forward to learning more and finding out about at NerdioCon 2025?
Yeah.
Is there, maybe just give us a little hint at kind of some of the things that that you can talk about that will be coming?
I mean, I think the way I would answer that is there are a lot of incredibly exciting things happening in the technology ecosystem and in the desktop as a service ecosystem. Certainly Windows 365 is one of those very, very exciting things. It's a huge investment by Microsoft, and it's something that we've been very closely partnered on with Microsoft since the launch. We were a launch partner of Windows 365, one of the few. So you could expect to see some pretty significant announcements in that area, things around AI and how sort of AI interplays with desktop as a service. So I would say stay tuned, come to the event, and you'll be the first to hear.
Well, we're looking forward to this event, and I think if you're an IT professional or in the cloud and virtualization space, it's kind of a no-brainer. I think it's a must-attend event. Talking about that, where can they go if they want to register for this event?
Yep, super easy. NerdioCon.com. NerdioCon.com. That's where you go to register. We'd love to have you there. I think, again, you'll walk out of it with a tremendous amount of learning and find it to be a very worthwhile event. We look forward to seeing you there.
Look forward to seeing you.
Thank you. Thanks for having me, and great to be here. And we'll see you at NerdioCon.
We'll see you there.